I'm pregnant, but it's not what you think. I still remember the look on Michael's face when she told him, I'm pregnant, but it's not what you think. And the room went cold. Because everyone in town already thought they knew. I live in a small town in Tennessee. One of those quiet places where folks still leave their doors unlocked and gossip spreads faster than wildfires. Michael Carter worked at my cousin's auto shop. Good guy. Real quiet. Always had grease under his nails and a Bible in the glove box. He'd been dating Emma Lee for a little over a year. Sweet girl. Soft voice. Taught Sunday school and played the piano at the local nursing home. They were good together. Real good. Everyone said they'd be married by spring. Then December came. And Emma showed up to church alone. Her belly had a little bump. Not big, but enough for the whispers to start. And by the time Pastor Ray gave the closing prayer, everyone already had their theories. She cheated. She's lying. Poor Michael. I saw him that night. Standing outside her parents' porch, arms crossed, eyes red. Emma came out wearing an old hoodie, her hair tied back. No makeup, just truth. I'm pregnant, she said. Michael didn't flinch. Then she added, but I didn't sleep with anyone. And I swear the air around us got still. Even the crickets shut up. She told him something so wild, so unbelievable it gave me chills. Said she had a dream. That the baby was part of something bigger, something divine. That it wasn't from a man. That she hadn't been touched. Now look, I'm not one to play judge and jury. But in our town, stuff like that, it doesn't fly. People don't just believe that kind of story. They laugh, they gossip, they walk away. And Michael, he just stood there, hands in his pockets, breathing hard, didn't yell, didn't cuss, didn't run. He just said, okay, babe. He told her he needed time. And for 2 weeks we didn't see him. Not at the shop, not at church. Rumor was he left town. That he'd finally cracked. But then he came back on Christmas Eve. And what he did that night shook this town to its core. What would you do if you were Michael? Comment your thoughts below. We're just getting started. Like this if it gave you chills. Subscribe to hear the rest of this unreal love story. You're gonna ruin your life for a girl who lied to you. That's what Michael's dad said the night he finally told them. But Michael didn't say a word. He just stared down at his plate. And I could tell. He wasn't sure if he believed her either. You'd think in a town like ours, built on church bells and potlucks, folks would know how to mind their business. But when Emma's belly started showing and Michael didn't call off the engagement, his parents lost it. I was at the diner that night. My booth's right by the kitchen. You can hear everything if you pretend you're reading the menu. Michael brought Emma home for dinner. First time in weeks. His mama made roast chicken and mashed potatoes. Her way of keeping the peace. But you could have cut the tension with a plastic knife. His dad, Mr. Carter, didn't even look up when he said it. You're really gonna raise another man's child? Emma's fork dropped. Michael set his glass down slow. She didn't cheat, Dad. She's pregnant, son. And you ain't the daddy. Do the math. Mrs. Carter jumped in, bless her heart. He's just upset, Michael. He doesn't mean. Yes, I do, his dad snapped. She made a fool of you. And you're letting her. Now listen, I've known Michael since we were kids. He used to cry when his dog got lost. He once punched a guy in the face for calling his little sister fat. But that night, sitting at that dinner table, he didn't cry. He didn't flinch. He just stood up and looked at Emma like the whole world had gone quiet. Then he said, she's not lying. I don't understand it either. But I believe her. And just like that he left. Walked Emma back to her car and never looked back. They say blood is thicker than water. But Michael, he was choosing something else. Something I didn't understand yet. Maybe love, maybe faith, maybe both. But from that night on, his parents stopped speaking to him. He moved into the back room of the auto shop. Slept on a cot beside the air compressor. Showed up to work early, stayed late. And every Sunday, he sat beside Emma in church, hand on her stomach like a man guarding a miracle. People still whispered. But Michael, he just kept showing up. Could you stand up to your family like that? Drop your thoughts below. This story is just heating up. Like this, if you respect Michael. Subscribe so you don't miss the next part, where things get even messier. Emma sat on the bathroom floor, crying into a towel. Not because of the pain, but because she didn't feel chosen anymore. She felt scared and alone. And sometimes even she started to wonder, what if they're right about me? I stopped by Emma's place one morning to drop off some canned soup. I figured she hadn't been eating much. Her cheeks were sunken, and the smile she used to wear like sunlight had gone dim. I heard a noise when I got to the porch. Not a scream, more like a gasp. Then a thud. So I let myself in. Small town rules. You do that when someone might be in trouble. I found her in the bathroom, curled up on the floor, one hand gripping her lower stomach, the other wiping tears off her face with the sleeve of Michael's hoodie. I thought I lost it, she whispered. She meant the baby. Her breathing was shallow, face pale as paper. I helped her sit up and we called the clinic. Turns out it was just a cramp. Normal, the nurse said. Nothing to worry about. But Emma was worried. She didn't say much, but I saw it in her eyes. She was trying to carry something bigger than just a child. She was carrying doubt, judgment, fear. And the weirdest part, she still hadn't told anyone the full story. Not even me. Later that night I brought her some tea and she finally spoke. I've never done this before, she said. I didn't plan for any of it. I feel like I'm losing myself. Her voice cracked. Everyone thinks I'm crazy. Sometimes I think I am too. She stared down at her stomach like it had betrayed her. Then she added, real soft. I didn't ask to be part of something divine. I just wanted to live quiet, fall in love, get married. And that's when it hit me. Emma wasn't just scared of the pregnancy. She was scared of the calling. See, folks around here say if something doesn't make sense, it can't be true. But what if it is true, and it just doesn't make sense yet? Michael believed her. But belief doesn't take away the morning sickness, the loneliness, the swelling, or the stares. Emma had to carry all of that herself. And no matter how strong her faith was, she was still just a young woman trying to survive in a town that had already decided who she was. What would you do if you were Emma? Drop a comment if this part hit your heart. Like this, if you believe in second chances. Subscribe now. Part 4 is where the storm really breaks. I found someone for you, his mama said, smiling like it was good news. She's clean, sweet, church-raised, and not pregnant. Michael didn't even blink. He just stood up from the dinner table and said, I already have someone. And she's carrying something holy. By late January, the town had split into two sides. Some folks, like Miss Connie at the pharmacy and old Mr. Webb from the bait shop, started softening up to Emma. They said, well, maybe it is something we can't explain. The Lord works in mysterious ways. But others, especially Michael's parents, they didn't budge. In fact, they doubled down. I saw it for myself one Sunday afternoon. I was parked outside the Piggly Wiggly, waiting for my niece to grab M.W. Michael's mom stepping out of a silver SUV with her. Her name was Lindsay Tate, the local dentist's daughter. Blonde, tall, polite. The kind of girl you bring home if you're trying to make your parents proud. Turns out Mrs. Carter had invited Lindsay over for dinner without telling Michael. She's just stopping by, she said, to talk. But I heard from the cashier's niece, who heard it from her sister's boyfriend, that there was a whole plan in motion. Mr. Carter had already called the pastor, asked if he'd be willing to bless a fresh start for Michael, with someone untainted. So there they were. Michael sitting at the same table where his parents had once thrown shade at Emma, now being told to move on from her entirely. I don't love Lindsay, Michael said flat out. You don't even know if you love Emma, his dad fired back. You love the idea of rescuing her. You're not her savior. She doesn't need saving, Michael replied. She needs someone who won't run away. Mrs. Carter's eyes welled up. She reached across the table. Baby, this isn't about hate. We just want what's best for you. This other girl, she's trouble. This won't end well. Michael stood up, pulled out his keys, and with his voice slow but steady, he said, Emma isn't trouble. She's mine, and I'm hers. And whether you come to the wedding or not, it's happening. Then he walked out the door. Again, back at the shop, he told me everything. Said part of him still hoped they'd change their minds, that his mama would call and say she was sorry. But deep down he knew, when you choose real love, especially the kind wrapped in mystery and scandal, you don't always get to keep your old life too. Sometimes love costs you everything. Have you ever had to choose between love and family? Tell us what you would have done if you were in Michael's shoes. Like this, if you're rooting for Michael and Emma, hit that subscribe button. Part 5 is the turning point you don't want to miss. Michael didn't leave a note, didn't tell a soul. He just packed a duffel bag, grabbed Emma's trembling hand, and drove far, until the voices couldn't reach them anymore. They were gone before the sun rose. No goodbye, no we'll be back, not even a forwarding address. At first, folks thought he came to his senses, that he finally realized the mistake and left her behind. But when Emma's car disappeared too, some of us knew he hadn't given up. He was protecting her. I didn't hear from them for months. No social media updates, no baby shower, nothing. Just silence. Until one day in early spring, I got a letter in the mail. No return address. Just a single sheet of notebook paper, folded twice. It said, We're in a small cabin up north, by the lake. Quiet, peaceful. No stairs, no whispers, just love. She had the baby last night. A girl. 7 pounds 2 ounces. Healthy, strong, bright-eyed. We named her Grace, because that's what held us together. I read it 3 times before it hit me. He did it. Michael left everything he knew for her. For a child that wasn't biologically his. For a story that didn't make sense on paper. For a love that looked like madness to everyone else, but made perfect sense to his heart. They said Emma's delivery wasn't easy. She was in labor for 22 hours, nearly passed out from the pain. But Michael never left her side. And when the baby finally cried, Emma wept. Michael did too. Because in that tiny cabin surrounded by pine trees and silence, love won. Not the soft kind you see in movies, the real kind. The kind that stays. It's been over a year now. They haven't come back to town. Some folks still roll their eyes when they hear the story. But me, I believe every word of it. Because sometimes love isn't about logic. It's about faith. And Michael had enough for all of us. Would you leave everything for someone you love? Comment what you would have done if you were Michael or Emma. Like this, if this story moved you. Subscribe for more powerful modern folk tales, because real love stories never die.